Welcome to another episode of Open Mic. I'm Mark Murphy, CEO of Atlatl Software, joined today by Zach Cooper, Director of Sales. Zach, today we're going to talk a little bit about budgeting and how customers can properly budget for software projects and how they challenge us on ROI and how do you engage that dialogue with our customers to really help them structure a budget that often takes into account total cost of ownership, which is an important thing to consider, and then how do we walk them through ROI for our software.
Mark, what sales rep doesn't like having that budget call? I think sales professionals, this is a conversation we have to engage with early in the process, middle of the process, end of the process. So I always like to train folks, this is a conversation you need to get comfortable having as early as possible, not just to budget qualify a potential customer, but also to provide some value back to the customer.
Right.
And one thing that we've learned, and we happen to focus on manufacturing sales, is most manufacturing sales organizations don't run inventory on their process. And what I mean by that is they don't take the time, mostly because they're moving too quick and they got too much to do with a lean, mean operation, to understand what are their customer acquisition costs. How many steps does it take to generate a quote? How many stakeholders are involved in that step-by-step process? What is the turnaround time from initial RFQ to actual purchase order? What is the probability of quotes going out the door converting to purchase orders? Just to share some analytics in the CPQ market, reps who are not using CPQ today take 73% more time to configure a quote. 33% of a rep's day is spent an inaccurate quote configuration or inaccurate prospecting due to lack of forecasting ability for purchase order conversion.
Right.
So when we're working with customers, we want to ensure that we can provide that inventory exercise so they can understand what are our customer acquisition costs, what are the pains or gaps we're experiencing in our process today, and what value do we put on replacing the gaps in our process with an alternative solution that can help us not only fill those gaps, but show a positive ROI. And that part of the conversation is where we really get to help folks move the needle by showing them what their business looks like today and what it could look like with a best-of-breed CPQ, visual CPQ, or looking out to tomorrow
Right.
when we really want to start talking customers, configuration to augmented reality.
So what are some of the high-level elements that go into customer ROI calculation? Errors, getting to quote faster.
Absolutely. When we're talking with industrial manufacturings and we happen to focus on CPQ technology, the very first thing we want to look at to where we can move the needle is sales team time savings. If reps who are using CPQ take 73% more time to generate a quote than those who do use CPQ, we want to see what that looks like for your business. In addition to that, what does it mean for your business if every single quote is accurate and meets the customer's demand in real time? What does that look like for your revision process as well as your purchase order conversion that we just talked about? And I think earlier in a few of our discussions, we've talked about positioning CPQ as the integration point between the front and back office team. So what does it mean if we can save the sales team time, but more importantly, what does it mean if we can save the engineering team time, the application engineering or the project management team from having to support sales, letting them focus on the high margin projects where their engineering expertise, typically that's what defines a manufacturing brand, and putting all that together into a message around, as we talked about last week, continuous process improvement across not only your front office, but your back office, with actionable data insights from what's being quoted to what needs to be produced to what needs to be shipped out the door.
And a win rate.
Absolutely.
Increasing the win rate ultimately.
100%.
And we found all these really get down to the bottom line for the customer. Adding more revenue, adding more deals closed to the bottom line, while gaining efficiencies and taking some costs out of that process.
What does it mean for your business if we can minimize your customer acquisition costs while increasing your margin and ensuring accurate quotes with accurate shipping deadlines from production and manufacturing?
Excellent. Great. Thank you, Zach. We'd love to continue this discussion. Please reach out to us at atlatlsoftware.com.